You know that exact moment. You are sitting across from her at a dim restaurant booth or on the couch after a long week, and the silence between you doesn't feel comfortable anymore. It feels heavy. You look at her, really look at her, and a strange, unsettling thought flashes through your mind. When did we become roommates? And right after that, the internal monologue starts spinning out of control. Why does this keep happening? Am I losing my spark? Is she pulling away? Or am I just imagining things? Do I even know how to make her laugh the way I used to? Here is the bold truth that nobody wants to admit, man. The reason your flirting feels forced and your connection feels stale isn't because the romance died. It didn't. It just went underground because you both stopped taking risks. You stopped playing. You got so busy managing life, bills, and routine that you forgot how to actually look at each other like you're still choosing one another. Listen to me. You're not failing at romance. This isn't a sign that your relationship has run its course. Every single guy who wants a deeper, electric connection with his woman has stood exactly where you're standing right now. So let's fix it. Today, we are breaking down 6 specific flirting tactics that completely shift the dynamic, spark real desire, and make her want you more than ever. Here's what you need to know. Honestly, let's get into it. Most couples believe that flirting is just a toolkit of pickup lines, playful teasing, or cheesy compliments you pull out of a hat when you're trying to impress someone new. But the real truth is flirting in a committed relationship isn't a performance. It's a nervous system reset. Think about it. When safety leaves a long-term relationship, your partner's nervous system reads the predictability, the stress, and the emotional distance before her mind can even catch up. What looks like a woman who is just not in the mood or emotionally detached is usually a woman who has been running on autopilot for so long that her system has locked the doors. Attachment science shows us that true desire cannot live in an environment of chronic safety without spark or high-stress routine. It thrives on novelty, grounded confidence, and deliberate attention. When you flirt with her, you aren't just trying to get a reaction. You are signaling to her body that you see her, the woman, not just the partner who handles the grocery list. And here's what changes everything. When you change the emotional tone of your attention, her nervous system stops bracing for routine and starts leaning into anticipation. Let's look at the 6 tactics that make this happen. Let's start with the first one, which is the undivided 5-second gaze. Most couples talk at each other while looking everywhere else. At the TV, down at their phones, or across the room while recounting their day. Our nervous systems crave micro moments of pure visibility. When you offer scattered attention, her brain registers invisibility. When you offer sustained, deliberate eye contact without speaking for just 5 seconds, her brain quietly registers that he actually sees me right now. The disconnecting version sounds like shouting from the kitchen while she's cooking, asking how her day was while scrolling your feed. The connecting version is walking up to her, putting your hand gently on her waist, waiting for her to turn, and holding her gaze in complete silence for 5 slow seconds with a knowing smile before you say a single word. And when you do that, the noise of the entire room fades away and the walls between you start to come down without either of you having to say a word. Think about how rare that kind of pure, unhurried presence is in a world obsessed with speed. When you give her that 5-second gaze, you are essentially telling her without speaking that, out of all the chaos in the room, she is the only thing that actually matters to you. Her nervous system unclenches, her breathing slows down, and she remembers what it feels like to be deeply, undeniably chosen. The second tactic is the curiosity loop inquiry. Most guys in long-term relationships stop asking questions that matter, defaulting to boring logistical loops like, did you call the plumber? Or what do you want for dinner? And this is the one most couples never figure out. Desire feeds on mystery, and mystery feeds on genuine curiosity. When you stop asking about her inner world, you stop being a lover and start being a manager of shared responsibilities. The disconnecting version is asking if she is tired after a long day, expecting a one-word answer. The connecting version is looking at her with a spark in your eye and saying, hey, tell me about something that made you genuinely excited today when no one else was looking. That's the shift that turns a relationship that feels like a shared corporation into one that feels alive, intimate, and deeply electric. When you ask questions that actually require her to step back and think about her own desires, passions, and hidden thoughts, you reopen doors that may have been closed for months. You stop treating her like an encyclopedia of household tasks and start treating her like an undiscovered country. And that shift alone creates an immediate spark of magnetic attraction that she will feel instantly. Moving on to the third tactic, which is the unprovoked compliment. Most people only give compliments as a transaction, usually right before asking for a favor or when she's dressed up for a formal event. A compliment loses its power when it has strings attached. But when you drop a completely unprovoked, hyper-specific compliment, out of nowhere on a random Tuesday afternoon. It completely disrupts her mental script. Her brain is quietly thinking that he wasn't asked to say that, he was just genuinely admiring me. The disconnecting version is waiting until she asks if this looks okay and mumbling a distracted, "Yeah, looks great." The connecting version is walking past her in the kitchen, stopping dead in your tracks, and saying that the way the light hits her eyes when she laughs like that still gets you, you know. And that's when your partner stops feeling like a problem to manage and starts feeling like the most desirable woman in the room. When you compliment her features, her mind, or her energy purely for the sake of giving it away with zero expectations of a return, you dissolve the transactional tension that slowly suffocates long-term love. The fourth tactic is the intentional physical anchor. Most long-term partners only touch each other when transitioning from point A to point B, a peck on the cheek goodbye, or physical touch explicitly tied to sex. Emotional distance in a relationship isn't like a wall. It's like scar tissue that forms slowly over 100 small moments of non-touch. Touch without an agenda is a biological signal of safety and profound attraction. The disconnecting version is sitting on opposite ends of the couch, scrolling through social sites for 3 hours without a single point of skin contact. The connecting version is casually walking past her, letting your hand slide slowly down her arm, or resting your hand on her knee while you're driving without needing to make a big deal out of it. That's the moment something in her softens and the physical distance that built up all week simply melts away in seconds. Non-sexual, affectionate touch acts like a quiet emotional adhesive, constantly repairing the micro-tears of daily stress and reminding her body that she is physically safe, cherished, and wanted in your space. The fifth tactic is the playful tease. Most couples let humor die under the weight of adult stress, turning every disagreement into a heavy, high-stakes negotiation. Not sarcasm that cuts, and not defensiveness that wounds, but light, high-vibe teasing that reminds both of you that you are two separate, fun individuals who chose each other for joy, not just endurance. The disconnecting version is responding to her being slightly particular about how the laundry is folded with an irritated sigh and a lecture on efficiency. The connecting version is leaning against the doorframe with a grin and asking if she is organizing your socks by tactical threat level again. And when you bring that playful energy back, you remember why you fell in love in the first place. Because laughing together is the ultimate form of emotional safety. Playfulness injects oxygen into a suffocating routine, instantly shifting the energy from heavy and defensive to light and magnetic. The sixth and final tactic is the quiet reassurance. Most guys think that being strong means holding everything in and waiting for the relationship to fix itself when things get tense. Here's the part no one talks about. True alpha confidence isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the emotional courage to be steady when things get messy. When she feels overwhelmed, her nervous system is looking for an anchor. The disconnecting version is getting defensive or withdrawing into your cave the moment she expresses frustration or stress. The connecting version is stepping close, taking her hands and saying, "Hey, look at me. Whatever is stressing you out, we are a team and you don't have to carry it alone tonight." And that's when something in her lets go completely and she realizes she doesn't have to protect herself from you. She gets to rest with you. This steady presence is perhaps the most powerful form of modern flirting, because it proves to her that you are not shaken by her storms, and that makes her want to lean into your strength over and over again. This isn't a checklist. It's an invitation to show up differently, and that changes everything about what's possible between you and the person you chose. When you internalize this, you stop reacting and start responding, and your partner will feel the difference before you've even said a word. These aren't tips for a better relationship. They're the beginning of becoming the kind of man she doesn't just love, but deeply, relentlessly desires. Real intimacy doesn't start when you find the right person. It starts when you decide to become one.